E, what's up, Jack? I mean, are we live? I will live. I say, it looks like we are. Greetings, everyone. As always, to all my followers of darkness, shadow scavengers, and villainy aficionados, welcome, bienvenue to one of my good old-fashioned live reviews. I'm your host, Lord of Shadows. As always, I'm here today to finally, after waiting for a very, very long time, ever since it was announced, I finally got a chance a few days ago to see this movie, and here I am to finally review it. And of course, I'm talking about of course, I'm talking about Snow White. Oh hell no, 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 no. Sorry, that was a bad joke. No, no. I'm talking about the new Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up. A Looney Tunes movie, starring, of course, our good old Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, that was previously that was a bad joke. Yeah, but anyway, so oh man, I mean, it's been like what? It's been like 22 years since we had like an actual Looney Tunes movie in the theater. I mean, some people might say, oh, we had Space Jam. Well, Space Jam, technically, for me, just like in the first one with Michael Jordan, I never consider those movies as like actual Looney Tunes movies. Like for me personally, the last actual Looney Tunes movie that we had in the theater was like Looney Tunes Back in Action, a movie that a lot of people hate. And I even still today I never understood the reason why. And it's I will even admit it, like it's one of my guilty pleasures that I will watch even today. But anyway, 22 years and here we are, the day the Earth blew up. And oh man, like from the trailers and the premise, like, I was like, yes, it definitely feels like a good old fashioned Looney Tunes movie. So here I am to finally review it. So basically, now when it comes to the overall plot, to kind of give you an idea, now I'm going to try to be as spoiler free as possible. So basically, the plot is it's basically two separate elements. So the first part of the plot, you have Daffy Duck and Porky Pig basically trying to earn some money by finding different jobs so they can repay repay the roof of their house. So basically the authorities will not take their house away. And on the other part, you have this very mysterious gum coming to life and try to take control of people's minds, and basically which also has to do with alien invasion. So that's kind of basically the overall plot of this movie, and basically combine them all together. You have out of all the people, or should I say Looney Tunes, you have Daffy Duck and Porky Pig trying to save the world, and yet here we are. Now, the overall plot, like I said, it's very simple, very easy to follow. That's one of the first things I just want to say. But also, in the same time, it is actually carried pretty well. It is actually carried pretty good when it comes to story-wise, when it comes to plot points, when it comes to story elements, when it comes to combining those two storylines, like I said, with Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, trying to basically earn some money so they can repair their roof, and also at the same time you have this alien invasion, gum, chewing gum controlling thing that basically turns people into mindless zombies. It's the way how it's put all together. I would say it's actually a pretty solid plot, and also a very Looney Tunes level, for sure. I mean, I know that some people might think it sounds like a very simple, maybe some of them will say even a silly type of plot, or should I say type of summary, but it's a Looney Tunes movie. So when you're gonna watch a Looney Tunes movie, of course you're gonna see bizarre plot line, bizarre plots or bonkers or plots that are silly, even sometimes over the top and ridiculous. I mean, it's a fucking Looney Tunes movie, and The Day the Earth Blew Up definitely delivers on that. When it comes to story wise, everything fell into the place. For sure, from like I said, from the Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, side of the plot, with of course, with the alien invasion side of the plot, So everything basically, like I said, fits together. So now, one of the things I do have to say, and that is basically I have to talk about Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. If you're gonna do a movie about a perfect double act, especially when it comes to Looney Tunes, then you hit yourself a fucking jackpot, because like Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, I mean, they appeared in many different like animated shorts together. So making a movie where they're the main characters actually is a perfect choice. I mean, some people might think like I know would say like well, wait a minute, like if you're gonna have Daffy Duck, why not bring Bugs Bunny? I mean, those two are usually the dynamic duo and everything when it comes to like Looney Tunes and everything. Yeah, sure, but in this particular story, the way how it's written, and it's written by many different writers, I can assure you about that. But the way how this story is written actually fits more, for like Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. And again, I love these guys. The way how they're told their stories, how they have been together ever since they were babies, all the way how they were raised by Farmer Jim. The way how when it comes to their overall relationship slash chemistry, the way how they work together, also like the different times when they're like basically at each other's throats and everything. I mean, like it's just simply the way how it's written is just simply beautiful. I mean, when you see those two together, it actually perfectly fits. Like Porky Pig is basically the heart, kind of like the overall. I'm not gonna say serious. I was gonna try to say like the more reasonable of the two, and Daffy Duck basically embraces the insanity of this dynamic duo. I mean, Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, they're basically, like I said, they're a dynamic double act, just like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello or Chicho and Franco, like they're a perfect comedy double act, and again their relationship throughout this movie is just simply amazing, like for sure. And again, one of the and again, it was really, and also that like one of the things I really liked. Again, I don't want to go into spoilers, but there's basically even a storyline where basically, again, you don't simply find you don't just simply see how they were raised, how basically they were together from the beginning, but there's also even a plot line where you kind of discover how Porky Pig basically stutters. There's like a little plot element where basically you find out how Porky Pig actually started to stutter, basically, which is kind of like also at the same time cute and amusing, the way how they use that and everything. But also again, Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, I mean, I can go about their relationship over and over again, but like everything from when it comes to their chemistry, everything felt natural. Well, when I say natural, I mean Looney Tunes natural, or even Looney Tunes unnatural. like I said, Porky Pig being the serious and Daffy Duck being the loony, basically being the comedy aspect of the double act, from their emotion, from the emotional moments, the comedy moments, to love moments, to serious moments, to even when they argue with each other, like everything felt so natural, felt so perfect, for each other. I mean, the way how they basically put together their like this, their relationship is just simply absolutely amazing. One of the other things I also have to mention is also Petunia Pig. I mean, I haven't seen her character for a very long time when it comes to Looney Tunes, and I mean a very long time. So it was actually pretty cool, they actually had her, in this movie, and also kind of throwing in basically like a love relationship between Porky Pig and Petunia. I mean, that was also kind of pretty cool. And again, it also felt natural. It didn't felt forced at all. And her character in this movie, it's absolutely a great addition. No doubt about that. I mean, when it comes to the way how, I mean, usually if I remember correctly, because again, I haven't seen Looney Tunes for a long time. So if I remember correctly, Petunia Pig was always kind of like this, shy, serious, but also kind of compassionate, peaceful kind of character. If I remember correctly, but and the way how they did her in this movie, from being like this very geeky, smart, scientist, basically, who deals with the taste experiments for this chewing gum, buddy gum, basically, company, and also they kind of added a little bit of a frustration part of in her personality, especially when it comes to the taste of this new flavored gum and everything. That I would say it made me like her character even more, for sure. I mean, Petunia Pig, even if I have to be perfectly honest, she was always for me one of the most underrated and in a way lesser known characters in the Looney Tunes universe. Let's put it that way. Like, I've always felt she was like one of those lesser known ones. And again, having bringing her here to have like to share a spotlight with Daffy Duck and Porky Pig is basically absolutely amazing. And again, I was really surprised when they first announced that she's going to be part of it. I, I was actually really surprised. I was actually really surprised. And again, with Porky Pig in it, it makes sense. It makes sense why they did this, especially this kind of like love relationship that they're showing in this movie between them. I mean, again, it was a really nice addition. And again, the voice actress who voiced her in this movie, she did a phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal job. Which also I have to go back to Porky Pig and Daffy Duck just for a minute as well. Eric Bauza. I mean, we know him. He's the guy who voices, Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny, and many other different like Looney Tunes characters as well. But what he did as Porky Pig and Daffy Duck in this movie, his voice performance was absolutely amazing, amazing. No wonder he's like one of the best voice actors working today. I mean, this movie really proves that Eric Bauza, is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't go as far as say, I wouldn't go as far as say that Eric Bauza is definitely like, I was like very near the Mel Blanc level when it comes to voice acting. I mean, what this guy could do, and not to mention what he did with Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. I mean, absolutely amazing. Like the way how he unleashed his voice went through comedy and emotions and serious moments and angry moments, between those two characters, absolutely fantastic. The voice cast in this movie is absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. So that's one of the things I do wanted to mention. Now, one of the other things I do have to mention also is the villain. So basically, the main villain of this movie is, of course, is this alien invader or alien conqueror who basically created this goo thing that basically put in the gum. It's kind of like sabotaging it, in which every time when a human would chew, it would basically take over their brains, kind of make them into a mindless zombie basically. Now, the villain overall, this alien conqueror, who, I always kind of forget his name, but I mean, I haven't seen this actor do something like for a very long time. He was voiced by Peter McNichol, and again, I have to tell, his performance as this alien invader, he was absolutely funny, absolutely hilarious. From the scary moments, the silly moments, he really felt like a new welcome addition to the Looney Tunes family when it comes to this particular character. I really hope they might use him in the future. Peter McNichol, again, the voiceover that he did with the villain is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. He the whole time, I would say he's the type of villain that I could not take seriously, because every time when he was on the scene, he was funny. He was absolutely hilarious. From the evil laugh to the way how he was plotting, the way how he was talking to the main characters, the way he was talking to his assistant. He was just simply a bonkers, funny villain, basically. Now, to be fair, at the beginning, I would say, again, I don't want to go into spoiler free, but there's a twist with this villain at the very end of this movie that kind of takes off a little bit, him being the main villain and everything, but if I have to, criticize something, I think maybe probably that would be it. The kind of the twist they did with him at the end of this movie, because I felt it kind of takes away the whole evil side of this alien conqueror and everything. That. I would say that's the only part I didn't like, but I will say also at the same time, it is also something that Looney Tunes would usually do. That's something that in the Looney Tunes universe, I think that is something that they would usually do in general. So overall, the villain was pretty good. The villain was a pretty nice addition, to the Looney Tunes family for sure. Now, one of the things I do have to talk about is the animation. Oh my God. The animation in this movie, being full on 2D, written, hand-drawn characters, the way how it was animated, facial expressions, the movements, the way how Farmer Jim was animated, which was hilarious the way how they used like hand painting, like hand like paint like hand painting pictures of him, and then it's a few times you actually see him like 2D animated. I really like that mixture they did with Farmer Jim, for sure, the guy who raised Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. But the animation again, oh my god, I mean I haven't seen this well drawn 2D animation movie wise. I mean, I haven't seen it ever since, I don't know. I mean, ever since like the Disney in 2009, I think it was like I mean I haven't yeah I mean for real I haven't seen like this beautifully drawn anime movie in 2D since like Home on the Range and like The Prince and the Frog, and which are both Disney movies. Because like the thing is, this kind of movie, the way it was animated, I would say it's a rare delight today, because like everything today, almost every single anime movie is made in 3D. As like the technology goes, evolves, and everything. This kind of like 2D animation, kind of like starts kind of like to get extinct more and more and more. But seeing this in this age, seeing this like 2D animation, in this movie, it felt so nostalgic. It felt so nostalgic to me. It made me feel like watching the Looney Tunes when I was a kid all over again. And seeing this kind of hand-drawn animation, it kind of also gives me hope that this type of like animation culture is not dying. That it's still alive, that it's still active. And again, I'm really hoping we will see more projects like this. Because again, the animation is absolutely mesmerizing. From like the body movements, from like the world building, from like like some like certain like facial expressions and movements, when they talk, when they express their feelings, like everything about this animation was absolutely pure gold. I mean, absolutely beautiful. If I had to like say one of the biggest positives in this movie is definitely the animation. Absolutely, because again, in this age of 3D, seeing something like this, it's a pure nostalgic delight. Absolutely. Now, of course, when it comes to like this movie, the biggest part, of course, the strongest part when it comes to like Looney Tunes project is, of course, the comedy. And the comedy in this movie is bonkers, all over the place. And it doesn't just simply hit you with like the typical Looney Tunes humor, but they also hit you with also type of humor that's in the same time modernized. Like there are some like especially like at the beginning, like there's a certain scene where you have like Porky Pig and Daffy Duck trying to find a way to earn money, and there's like a certain thing that is very traditional and typical today. Especially when it comes to social media, and the way how they used it, especially throwing in like, the Looney Tunes style of type of like humor, it was done brilliantly. For me personally, it was done brilliantly, So yeah, I mean, like, and again, when it comes to the overall humor, the main star of that, of course, goes to Daffy Duck. I mean, sure, like Porky Pig, even Petunia, and like again, the evil alien invader, they all have like so humorous times in this movie. But the biggest king of all comedy in this movie is, of course, Daffy Duck. From like certain decisions, from a certain like jokes, the way how he talks, like the facial expressions, the when he does his overall Looney, or the when it's like doing that, like, oh my god, like Daffy Duck is definitely the one who holds the humor on the palm of his hand, for sure. So that is also one of the things I have to praise this movie. Like they kept the Looney Tunes style humor, but at the same time they tried to modernize it, give something new, something fresh to it. And for me personally, it worked. Because a lot of times through this movie, it made me laugh. For sure. I mean, laugh hysterically. And also, and some of the humor also made me giggle. I mean, none of them felt like boring or that I don't get it. None of the humor felt like bad or anything. Like I said, some of them made me giggle, but most of it made me laugh hysterically, for sure. Now, the tone, like I said, when you're talking about like the Looney Tunes movie, of course you're gonna it's gonna be a light. You think it's gonna be a lighthearted Looney Tunes typical like style of movie where basically you think like you can take your kids watching the entire day. But there's also, I would say, when it comes to the overall lighthearted tone, this movie, I would say this: sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes it can be scary and a little bit disturbing, especially with the whole gum mind control thing. Like, oh man, the way how they, especially it kind of connects with the overall how good the animation was, because the way how they through the animation, how they show those scenes. Like I said, with the whole gum mind control invasion thing, from like when it first appeared, when Porky Pig, Petunia, and Daffy were trying to confront it. Though there's a lot of moments in this movie that like you will think like it's not just simply scary, but at the same time disturbing. But in a very twisted way, it kind of fits the Looney Tunes world. It kind of fits. And again, I'm saying that with the most in a positive way. I'm not saying that in a negative way. Because like there's some things in this movie that I was like, whoa. I was like really surprised they went there. For like a Looney Tunes movie. But at the same time, it fits. It absolutely fits. Which also brings me to emotions. Now, this movie, there are some parts in this movie that actually it can make you feel emotional. Especially when it comes to like Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. Like most of the emotional scenes in this movie are with them. For like at the beginning, and then like like twice, basically near the end of the movie. And it really, and it's really, and they're really well done, and like one of those moments actually even hit me a little bit in the heart. I mean, it didn't make me tear, or it didn't make me like throw the Niagara Falls out of my eyes or anything. Like no, but like it made me feel it. It made me feel it right here in my heart. It really did. So with that being said, like they did a phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal job. Which kind of brings me, to the overall final thoughts. I mean, again, one thing for certain, final thoughts. Like one of the things for certain, this movie has to be, like this movie has to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like this movie has to be protected. Okay, like this movie has to be protected. It has to be supported, because what they did with this movie, it kind of it also kind of shows you that kind of like a possible bright future for the Looney Tunes universe. Because what they did with this movie, like I really, really hope that not only we will see more 2D animation in the future, but also see more like different types of like Looney Tunes movies for sure as well. Because so one of the things I do have to say, go out and support this movie, because it's absolutely amazing. It deserves people's attention. I would go as far as say I would even suggest people to rather go watch this movie than Snow White. There, I said it. Okay, there I said it. I will prefer over and over again watch this movie rather than Snow White. Here I said it again. But anyway, final thoughts. I really, for what it was, I really like this movie, and also the movie really went fast. I mean, it's like an hour and 36 minutes long. And it goes by really fast. That's also one of the things that is very typical when it comes to like Looney Tunes movies. So overall, it was a super fun time movie. I really liked the story. Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, it was so great seeing them together again. And it just simply seeing these characters on the big screen in general, it was really great. Eric Bauza did a phenomenal job. The rest of the voice cast was also great in this movie. I really liked the addition of Petunia Pig. I thought like she was also pretty good in this movie. The humor really worked for me. I really liked the tone. Also there were a few moments, like I said, there are very emotional. I'm not gonna say very emotional. There are like emotional moments in this movie that for me personally worked. And again, the animation, one of the strongest parts of this movie that is like absolutely, it was just simply absolutely mesmerizing the way how they did it. So overall, I just simply, for me personally, it's just a fantastic, welcoming addition to the Looney Tunes universe. I mean, that's personally what I think. Everything about it, I really love. There's literally nothing about this movie that I felt negative about it. The only thing, like I said, the only issue I had was just simply the way how they treated the villain's twist at the end of the movie. That's the only thing I had a problem with. But again, very nitpicky, very, very nitpicky. Everything else for me worked. Absolutely. So it kind of brings me, overall to the rating, which of course I'm going to give The Day the Earth Blew Up a 8.5 out of 10. I think for a Looney Tunes movie, that is a well-deserved rating. Well-deserved rating. I know that some people might think like, oh, it's too high and everything, but trust me, the way how this movie worked for me, I think this is a well-deserved rating, an 8.5 out of 10. The only reason why it's not full on 9 or 10 out of 10 is just because because the whole villain thing, because they use something that, again, it's typical for a Looney Tunes movie, but at the same time they use something that also personally I'm kind of getting tired of, in like fiction in general. But overall, as a Looney Tunes movie, 8.5 out of 10, I think it's a perfect score for it. Like everything about it, I just simply enjoyed. From the beginning to the very, very end. And with that being said, here I am. I'm done. Another live review finished. Hope you guys have enjoyed it as well as I did. And seriously, this movie has to be supported. This movie has to be supported because, like, if the way how for me personally, this movie is great. It just simply shows me that the future of the Looney Tunes is bright. I know the whole Max thing that happened and everything. Like, I know, but if the Looney Tunes go in good hands. And if if we can get more movies like this, I'm telling you, I'm really hoping that the Looney Tunes future is bright. I really do hope so. If this, because if this works well, I'm really hoping to see give me a Looney Tunes movie where basically you have Bugs Bunny and also Daffy Duck. Give me a movie that is based on Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. Give me a movie. Give me even a good old fashioned 2D animated Western with Yosemite Sam. This movie basically is for me personally is the beacon of a bright new future for the Looney Tunes. So I do think this movie should be supported. So if you guys still have a chance, go out and see this movie because I believe you guys won't be disappointed. And with that being said, here I am done. As always, rate the video, comment, subscribe, give me your personal thoughts and ideas. If you have seen the movie already, what did you thought about it? What did you thought about the overall animation, about the villain, about Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, about Petunia Pig, everything? If you've seen it, what did you thought about the movie in general? Put it in the comment section down below. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more. But until then, stay well. And of course, Lord of Shadows signing off. See you guys next time. Or, as I like to say it, later, fuckers.